Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Dan.
And this is Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to review Rolling Rounds from Stonemaier Games, I believe actually designed by Jamey Stonemaier, right?
Yeah.
Or is Jamey
Pretty awesome.
Stegmaier?
You'll get there.
I will. Jamey Stegmaier. Because his last name is not Stonemaier.
No.
Anyways, so this is a roll and write, and one of the unique things about this is, well, first of all the cards are games.
Yep.
And then
Stonemaier games.
actually, the cards are dry erase.
Yep, they're
so
all
you can
dry erase.
mark up the cards, and so like Silver and Gold from Pandasaurus does this as well.
Okay.
This is more complex. And then so each player, there's player colors, and then each player gets like their own scoring cards. You've got resources, and you're basically, somebody's going to randomly pull 3 out, and then everybody else is going to grab the
Copy
same
those.
3 out of their thing.
Yep.
And then you are going to set them up, and some of it might matter where you
No.
put the card.
Not really.
Between 2 cities?
No, we just said that.
We just did that. We just
It
did
didn't
that.
actually matter.
Is it just the
Yeah.
other 2?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
think
your
the
other
other
two
Oh, yeah, I
rounds.
guess
It just happened to fall that way
Sure.
for us, so that's what we were joking about.
So you've got 11. You've got 11 cards in here.
You can use
You're only going to
9.
go through 9 of them. And then I would say that because you randomly are going to draw them, you're not always going to get the same combinations.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
of
the
cards.
big thing.
yeah,
yeah.
they'll interact differently.
Some of them will be better combinations than others.
Right. And then you roll the dice.
Write
you're
down
gonna,
your numbers.
You're going to write down your
You got a
numbers.
3 and a
3 and a
4.
4. And now you can assign that 3 and 4 one number to a card. Right? One number each, right? So you're going to assign the 3 to one of these cards. You're going to assign the 4 to one of these cards. But you have to assign them to different cards unless you get something that says you don't have to do that.
Yep, some of the abilities up here and stuff.
And then without going into like all the nitty gritty, there's just different ways to score things. It's all pretty.
Gain
It's,
resources.
there's a few that we just took a second to like discuss.
Right.
But I think by the end of it, like pretty much everybody except for Spencer had a really good idea on how all the cards
everything
work.
worked. Yeah. Right.
We did
by
not.
far the most complicated one was Charterstone.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
Charterstone.
right?
Yeah, that
So
was pretty-
A
take
little
some
bit.
time thinking that through. If you really read it through, it does make sense. But like the first
Is there
time
a
you read it,
breakdown
it's
of
like, that's weird.
Yeah, but the
So-
breakdown basically just tells you what
The same thing.
the same
Yeah.
thing on the cards.
A few more words, maybe though.
Maybe a few. There is. We did not play, but I'm looking forward to trying the solitaire
solitaire?
mini
Yeah.
golf one. I think that's pretty neat. But yeah, so I mean that's really the game. You're gonna have your resources. They don't carry over, but they do give you a 1/10 of a point.
For everyone, which is kind of cool.
Which
Yep.
I mean, at first I'm like, "Ugh, 10th of
Yeah.
a point. Who cares?" But like,
They add up.
there were actually like there was at least one round where I carried over like a 1.5
I had
because
2.1
wow.
one time, I think.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I had a
Wow.
ton of resources. I just wasn't spending them.
yeah.
But,
Spencer
yeah.
clearly was spending them, and that's why he won.
Yeah.
I had like 1 point was the most I ever got out of those
But yeah,
resources.
so you play over 3 rounds. So it's 3 cards each round. You're going to mark your score. Then you're going to clean everything off, and you're going to go again. And that's
Yeah,
the
there's a
game.
great
There's a
zone
thing right there.
I know, right? What am I doing? Mongo, only pawn in Game of Life.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really pretty straightforward. I mean, we pulled the shrink off this,
Cracked it open.
cracked it open, and
Loved
we
it.
were playing within minutes. And with the exception of a few times, just kind of asking some questions about the cards.
Clarifications.
I'd also seen the game played many times by
Okay,
this
yeah, I've
point,
never
so
seen it
any
played.
small questions people had, I basically was just like, yes, that's the mechanic. You
Yeah.
know, like I'd
That's
seen
how
it
it
played
works.
many times.
And again, it's usually pretty intuitive. Like with,
It's a simple game.
the Charterstone is, I think, the most complicated one, definitely out of the ones
we
we
played.
saw.
Side looked like it was pretty cool.
But I mean, but yeah. So, anyways,
It's cool that they are a little thematic. You can't make it insanely thematic, right? But like one of the cool ones was between 2 cities, or between 2 castles,
Oh, it's-
rather. You're actually building up your buildings from bottom to top with numbers, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's just a little bit of theme in there to match with the game.
and I like the between 2 cities because you score your
Right.
lowest scoring neighboring card, right,
Yeah.
or your
Yeah.
other 2 cards. I say neighboring card,
Yeah.
but like so I put my other 2 cards
On either
either side, and then I'm looking because I'm trying to build them evenly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you can't ignore this card in true between 2 cities fashion.
Correct.
You have to also build that one up because you can only gain the stars for like each square you filled, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that in Tapestry, you're just doing the like Sudoku part of Tapestry, your
Right.
little
Yeah.
player
Building
board.
your
You're just
city.
putting the buildings on there and
Yep.
getting points for that. Like again, they tried. You know, is it a perfect representation? No, but
no, but that's
good
not the
enough.
point.
yeah,
right?
right.
Who cares?
It does capture the feeling for most of them.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
How accessible is this game?
It's on
so
the shelf.
accessible. I literally walked out there and bought my own copy.
Yeah, yeah.
Relatively cheap too. You know.
Yeah, Bob walked right out in the FLGS because we filmed the back of one and picked up a copy post haste.
Yeah.
Post haste. Really quick.
Yep. Component wise, are all good, like you were kind of saying. The markers
all
and
work really
erasers,
well.
Giant
the
dice.
erasers were great.
Yep, the erasers work well.
Yeah, I remember Jamey talking in a video because again, Jamey makes YouTube videos where he talks about
Why he
like
made the
for this
decisions
one,
he
he was
made.
just talking about the design process, you know, when he does that kind of things, and he was basically talking about how roll and writes can be like, I don't know if like boring is this right word, right? But it's just like there's like pads and then you write and then there's dice, you know, and like that's all there is to it. So he was like, how can I make mine just a little interesting? And so he was messing with different stuff, and he wound up just going with he just loved having these giant clunky dice in his hands while he was rolling, and I like it, and it actually serves a purpose too. That they're much easier to see from across the table too, having these giant pips on these big dice. So
Yeah, and they're hexes.
Yeah, they're hexes too.
Yeah.
That's a cute touch.
Yeah, that is nice. I didn't.
yeah,
notice
which
that.
I assume is supposed to be like that kind of thing
Yeah,
or something.
well, plus,
but
you know, they use hexes for their
right.
Yeah.
their thing.
That is the thing.
So
but-
yeah, components wise, everything is really good.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
really like this is a concept in dry erase or in roll and writes that I find
Definitely
really
get behind.
fun and neat.
Yep.
Is the dry erase cards. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
I mean, there's actually quite a bit of depth to this thing too. Like,
Yeah.
if you can manage
There's a
this
lot
thing
going
well,
on
the
there.
resources,
resources and
and you
abilities.
can spend them for a bunch of different upgrades and stuff. If you can
Yes.
manage this well, this actually adds a considerable depth to the game.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Um,
manipulation that you
But you
can
don't
do.
have to. You'll you know, if someone else is, they will probably win.
And if
But,
you're
you
lucky
know.
with the die rolls, you might not have to mess with it
Correct,
as much.
yes.
But yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's pretty much rolling rounds.
Yeah.
So Daniel,
Me.
what are we gonna do with our rating here?
So we're just gonna rate it from 1 to 10, giving our own personal thoughts and opinions on it, maybe some final thoughts, so that if you agree with one of us more than others, you have that. But then also we're gonna average them all together because it's easier to just tell people one score from Board Game Rundown. If someone says, "Hey, what did you guys rate Rolling Rounds?" we can just say X instead of listening. Well, Bob said this and Tim said this. It's just easier to keep track of.
Yeah, that's right. Dan,
Me.
why don't you go first?
Sure, the person who discovered the game. I tend to discover games that I don't wind up owning a lot. I'm just like, oh, Bob will probably like that. I watched many hours of this game on YouTube, honestly. I guess maybe not many hours. It's like a
It's just a short
15-minute
game.
game or
Sure.
something, you know, but
Many
I've watched a
playthroughs.
lot.
Yeah.
So and then finally being able to play it, it was fun. Again, it's very simple. And it is a roll and write, which I don't tend to love roll and writes in general, which is why when I saw this, I was like, oh, wow, that's a really interesting idea. I'll show Bob. That was my first instinct. You know, it wasn't like, I'd love this. But I had a really good time with it. It's fun. I like the theme. I love Stonemeier's games, so having them in that kind of universe where all the different roll and writes you're doing are different games from them, that's really cool. Plus, from what I understand, this started as like a print and play you could do during quarantine because he was just he had like this idea he wanted to do, so he was just like having a print and play, and then people like really wanted it to be an actual game or something, so he was working on that. Now, could he have been wanting it to be a real game in the first place anyway? Maybe, but that's just a cool little backstory if all that's true. But I'm gonna fall down on like I don't know, 7. I'm just gonna say 7 for now. It was hard. 7, 7.5. I'm just gonna fall on a 7 for now. There aren't really any negatives I can say except for the fact that it's really simple, and I don't tend to love roll and writes in general. So I don't know. Like honestly, I liked. So Welcome to. Very famous roll and write. I didn't like it. I thought it was too simple. And I played the Vegas version with you, and I liked it way more because it added more depth and stuff. I don't like roll and writes in general usually, but I usually want a theme I care about, which this one has, and then like some kind of depth to it usually. And this one just didn't have that for me. But still a fun game that I would recommend if you like roll and writes, especially a beginner level roll and write.
Yeah. Spencer.
Hey, well, there's 2 things I wanted to mention before I get into it. We have this is one-player game as well, Automa Factory. Stonemaier tends to do a really good job with their one-player versions, so we did not play that.
That is what his videos are, though, on YouTube. So I've seen it played solo, and it plays basically the same. You're just trying to, beat your scores
game,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that I really appreciated about this one, unlike some of the roll and writes I've played, we are all sharing the same die, and we all have the exact same thing, and so it comes down to how well you manage. You can have 2 people who tie through the whole thing if they just make the same decisions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Does that make it kind of Euro-y since we have like all the
I
same
mean, On Tour
resources
does
and
a
stuff?
similar thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
it has randomness because of the dice, but at the same time, it kind of removes the randomness because we're all playing on the exact same field. And I appreciated that a lot. And I like this one apparently more than you did. I'm giving this one an 8.5.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bobby, you're our rolling right guy.
Yes.
Rolling rights, flipping rights, blah, blah, blah rights.
And I liked it. I thought I did a great job with it. The big dice are easy to see for everybody across the table. Everybody gets their own like deck of cards, which is really nice. They're all dry erased, and all the markers work nice out of the box. That's a big thing.
That does not always happen.
Does
So
not
that
always
is-
happen.
not
Nice.
always happen.
So quality components, I appreciate that. The erasers work really nice. It's not they don't seem to be leaving like black bits from the marker on there, which sometimes happens as well. And the price point, like I could not argue with the price point. Like I thought it was, for what you're getting in there, the quality stuff. I like.
Yeah,
it.
it was actually cheaper than what you expected when you
It
walked
was.
out and
Yeah,
bought
it
it
was
off
cheaper.
the
It
shelf
was
for
cheaper.
MSRP, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8. Like it could be a little bit more depth in there. Yes, I agree with that. I'd like to play with the different combinations and see how it plays out, differently and whatnot. But for me right now, it's an 8. It could easily move up to an 8.5. If I could get a little bit more depth with some of the different combinations and have them, proc more and this and that. But
And
plus the solo mode, and not having to check out the solo mode. So yeah, I think this is I definitely recommend picking that up, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I thought I saw something where there was more like expansions you could get. But yeah, so this lends itself very much to
We got some more games coming out. Here's a little pack of
Exactly.
Yeah. And how awesome would that be? Like, pre-order the game and we'll give you the rolling rights
you can
card.
start
or
with.
Like
whatever.
now we know
cool.
Libertalia is coming, huh? So
Right.
there'll be a
Well,
little
it's
card
not
eventually.
Libertalia.
Well, it is. Libertalia catchphrase.
Yeah. But anyways, I like Dan. I don't always love a ton of rolling rights and flipping rights, but the ones I do like, I really like. And this kind of falls along that line. I like all the components. I love that it's themed with the games because it's a bunch of games that I like. So I mean that's fun too.
I
None
didn't
of,
realize how many Stonemaier games we played.
I know. Well, I've got almost all the Stonemaier games. But I had a really good time with this. This is also like I'm looking at games like this and I'm like, how can I get it played with like family and not hardcore gamers? And I feel like I could get this played pretty easily because even though they may not get all the game references, it doesn't matter. Right? Like it's a little extra seasoning in case you do care about that sort of thing, or and yes, it is a solitaire game essentially, right? Like some of them can be because it's not like cartographers where you're passing your pad and other people can mark up your stuff.
Sure.
Some people that bothers. I don't care. I play the game. If other people mess with my stuff, they mess with my stuff. If they don't, they don't. If it makes sense within the game,
Sure.
perfect. But anyways, this is a very solid 8 for me.
Nice.
Maybe it could be more complicated, but what I'm really excited to see about playing this is how the different combinations of cards, how they affect each other.
Sure.
Because I do feel like different things
Works differently.
would
together.
work differently and maybe
Absolutely.
try to proc different things in different orders depending on the combinations that I've got. So it would be just, it'd be neat to see what more looks like.
Right.
And I really think, man, you could really do something awesome with like, oh yeah, Libertalia. Well, here's the Libertalia promo card.
Right.
Whether they give that out at conventions or whether they just throw it in the game.
Right.
And say,
I really hope that is a fantastic idea.
welcome.
Sending out the promo. Well, you didn't come up with it.
I just did.
No, but like,
Yeah.
Off the
You
dome.
I'm gonna
go to
choose to
convention.
forget that.
Yeah.
Someone came up with
Right.
something. but-
Somebody came up with a good idea. But if you take all of our scores and you average them together, 7.9.
I'm going home,
That's pretty
man.
good.
Yeah, no, 7.9 is great. I feel like that is. I had a feeling because I know Dan doesn't love rolling rights, but I felt like we all had a
Enjoyed
good.
this one.
Yeah, we all had a
Oh,
good
yeah,
time.
I had a great time playing.
I don't disagree with any of the stuff. I mean, there's plenty of games where it's
There's-
like I should like this and I don't. But I
There's
really
not
do
many
like this.
games I play that the further in we get, I was doing worse and worse. My first round was amazing. My
Yeah.
last round was terrible. I wasn't exactly sure. It's like I was forgetting how to play. But
I think for me it was just some of the combinations were messing me up.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. It's just like, oh, how do I?
oh yeah, it's a puzzle. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. So for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Spencer.
Dan.
This was Rolling Realms. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.